Hey everybody, this is video review number 13 from Cube Computer Company, and today I'm going to be looking at the Uniden DECT 6.0 cordless telephones. Now let's swing over and have a look at these telephones. Okay, here's a look at these Uniden DECT 6.0 telephones, and if you're wondering why I'm reviewing telephones on Cube Computer Channel, it's because of a technology called voice over IP. See, most of these people nowadays think that to save money you're better off to switching to only using a cell phone, but there's a thing out there that's called voice over IP. You have companies such as Vonage, NetTalk, Uma, MagicJack, and all these others that more or less connect your analog telephones, your house phones, to the internet and give you more or less really cheap, if not free, phone service. And I've had plenty of experience with these two telephones here. The one on the left is model DECT 1560, and the one on the right is model DECT 1660. Of course, this one here is older than this one. This is a newer model. And let's go and have a close-up of the DECT 1560. These are just basic speakerphone cordless telephones that have caller ID built in. They have plenty of features. They have a phone book function. They have a voicemail shortcut button. They have plenty of different things in them. And this one here seems a little bit heavier. It just seems like it's built better than this one over here. Well, I guess they're about the same weight, but this one here is a little bit thicker than the other one. The other one has a bigger screen than this one. This telephone here is connected to MagicJack, and I got this phone not long after I got MagicJack because I needed a cordless phone because I was tired of being stuck with a corded AT&T Slimline phone here at the computer just to use MagicJack. And this cordless phone here works very well. Not to mention it you can go a pretty good ways with this thing from the base and get a good signal. And I'm talking partially through the other side of the neighborhood and still get a signal with this thing. I mean, that's pretty dang cool. But anyways, for those who are looking to get a decent little cordless phone, I think this one here is the better one. And if you're looking to use this phone with MagicJack, it works very well. As a matter of fact, there's a little button here for voicemail, and the way MagicJack's voicemail works is you dial your actual phone number and that takes you to voicemail. You can program this button here to dial your phone number so it goes straight to voicemail. So all you do is hit this button to go straight to voicemail. Anyways, let's get a little bit deeper in terms of details with these phones. This phone here uses a 2.4 volt 500 mAh nickel cadmium battery pack, which is built out of two AA cell batteries that plugs into the phone. I'm not very crazy about them using nickel cadmium batteries, but the newer version uses a nickel metal hydride. But I'm not very satisfied with the battery that comes with the other phone. I'll get onto that here shortly. This battery here holds a charge for several days. I mean, it works pretty well. Ever since it was brand new, this thing has held a charge for a long time. And I've had this phone for around a year now, going on a year now. And I mean, this phone here, I can talk on it for hours and still have a good charge on the battery. So I'm pretty satisfied with this, and though I am thinking about replacing it with some better cells here pretty soon to get this phone a longer run time on a charge. So I'm going to pop the cover back on. This is the same phone that's been in several of my videos on YouTube. My more recent MagicJack video reviews feature this phone to test the sound quality of MagicJack, and a recent video of me talking on the phone with my friend Tim in the hard drive video has this phone in it. And this is also the same phone that has been used in my more recent Windows activation videos. I mean, this phone, it's great value for what it is. I mean, it's less than about $20 or so, and This one here has really good ratings on Amazon. People are very satisfied with it. My personal experience with Uniden telephones has been pretty well. My father's used to have one years ago. I believe that thing probably lasted 10 years before it died. I don't even think it quit. He just finally replaced it with one with caller ID. Anyways, have a look at the controls here. This phone, when you get a call, it'll say new CID and a number of new calls, and you can go back through and browse through the numbers that called you and call those people back. And see, it has a clear button, intercom button, a menu button, a select button, and this menu is pretty rich too. Of course, you have your handset set up, day and time, global setup, register base, handset setup. Okay, we're more or less going back to the stuff here. Anyways, pretty basic phone, but it does the job very well for what it is. Actually, I think it's a pretty feature-rich phone for the price. And like I say, between the two of these phones, I think this one here is a better deal. Now let's go and talk about the other one. This is the DECT 1660 cordless phone, and it's pretty similar to the other one. It's a little bit longer in length and not as thick. The buttons are pretty much the same on this phone. This up here is a little bit different. This phone here has a bigger screen on it, and it shows the date and time down here at the bottom. And of course, here is the feature I was telling you about with both these phones, where if you get phone calls, they'll show new CID and the phone numbers. I'm not going to actually browse through the phone numbers because I don't want to display all those phone numbers to YouTube. Anyways, this one also has a voicemail button down at the bottom, but it's not being used because on this phone line there's still an old-fashioned tape answer machine attached to it. Anyways, this phone here comes with a very, very sorry battery. Now I've replaced it with my own homemade battery. Okay, here's the original batteries that come with this phone. And I believe I lost the original shrink wrap to these batteries, which stated the information, but these are 300 milliamp hour nickel metal hydride AAA cells. And what disappoints me about these is most AAA cells for nickel metal hydrides are at least 650 to 700 milliamp hours, if not 1,000. I have several sets of Rayovac and Energizer rechargeable nickel metal hydride AAAs that are rated for 800 to 850 milliamp hours. And this phone here has what's called an eco mode. When you're on the phone, it's supposed to save energy, but heck, it don't have much longer of a runtime because the battery is so small. And it just seemed like this battery just wouldn't hold a charge for a very long amount of time. So what I did was I took the original lead off of this battery pack and took two Rayovac cells just like these. These are the basic Rayovac rechargeable batteries, low self-discharge pre-charge batteries from Walmart, and you can get 4 of these for $7 and something. And these are 650 milliamp hour batteries. And with these batteries, this phone here stays charged a whole lot longer. And of course, being a higher capacity, it stays charged a bit longer than this one. So I'll probably be replacing the batteries in the other phone with some good high capacity, or at least decent capacity nickel metal hydrides. I'll probably get the basic Rayovacs from Walmart that are 1400 milliamp hours, which will be a whole lot better than 500 milliamp hours. And the reviews on Amazon of this phone, some are good, some are not good at all. This phone here to me seems kind of cheaper, especially with the batteries. I mean, that's the biggest cheap part about the phone. I was kind of disappointed with that when I first noticed that when I took this phone out of the box. Notice right away the small batteries, and that's why this phone is a little bit thinner. And a couple of times with the old batteries, this phone would have issues to where it would just it would lose its connection with the base. So what it would do is you'd hear a bit of silence, and more or less what the phone would do is it would say searching, And then once it reconnected with the base, it would say line on hold. You'd have to hit send or talk to rejoin the conversation, and more or less you'd leave the other party on the telephone call clueless to what's going on, because I mean, you just see a blackout more or less. And that happened several times with the stock batteries on this phone, but after I replaced the batteries with these Rayovacs, haven't had the problem since. And this phone gets used a pretty decent bit almost every day. Sometimes they'll get used for over an hour per conversation. And I put those Rayovac batteries in this thing, and it took, I would say, 6 or so days before they were actually down to 1 bar on here on this little meter. Right now it's down to 2 bars because there have been several conversations on this phone since about 3 or so days ago when I pulled it off the charger. And I have a video on YouTube of actually the procedure of replacing these batteries with standard old cells that you can get in the photo section at Walmart. See, the thing about rechargeable batteries for phones is they love to rip you off on those things. I mean, this phone here with the basic style base system with no answer machine is about 19 to 20 bucks. Well, they want about 14 or so bucks for a replacement battery pack, which is a real ripoff when you can get 4 AAA cells, the basic Rayovacs, for like $7 and something. And of course, me, I try to save money every way I can. Of course, that's why I use MagiJack for my phone service. And I mean, you just gotta know how to do things right to save money. Okay, the next part of this review will be a sound quality test. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this phone and go into a different room and talk from this phone. And then I'm going to swap the phones around and do the same thing again. And walk in a different room and have a listen.
Okay, now I'm in a different room and just have a listen to this phone. How's it sound to you? Of course, it's running on a combination of Time Warner Cable's digital phone service and MagiJack. And it sounds pretty well. Now let's go ahead and test the 1660. Okay, now here's a sound test for the DECT 1660. These phones pretty much sound about the same, I believe, in terms of speakerphone quality. Of course, being DECT 6.0 phones, they sound crystal clear, and they work great with voice over IP telephone lines. So I think both these phones are a great value. Anyways, next portion of this video review will have to do with ratings and my personal opinions on these phones.
Okay, let me go and give you my final opinions on these two telephones. Now, I went back and I listened to the previous clip of how both phones sounded. I will note right away that Time Warner Cable's digital phone service, it's just something about it to where the volume on the speaker on any phone connected to Time Warner Cable's digital phone is extremely high to the point where things sound distorted. With the 1660, the speakerphone volume was not even maxed out. It was about 3/4, and the speakerphone volume on the 1560, which is connected to MagiJack, was maxed out, and I have the volume controls in Magic custom set from within the Windows controls from the audio properties. So as you might be able to notice, the 1560 actually sound a little bit more clear. Now with my cameras, the noise is actually louder than what it sounds. So with Time Warner Cable's digital phone service, that, like I say, I notice this all the time with dial tone, with the dial tone on the phones, conversations on the phones. Things are so loud, especially that dial tone. Everything is just so loud to where it's distorted. And that's one thing I don't like about Time Warner Cable's digital phone service. I personally think Time Warner Cable's digital phone service may sound just a hair bit better than the first gen Magic, but I'm pretty sure the Magic Plus probably sounds equal to Time Warner's phone. Anyways, back to the point here. The DECT 1560 seems to be built better. And what's funny, it's the same price on Amazon, and it costs the same at Walmart as the newer phone does at Walmart now. This phone, like I say, is a little bit thicker, uses AA cells, but they're nickel cadmiums, and I don't like nickel cadmiums. I prefer nickel metal hydrides. The LCD on this phone here, well, the display I should say, is not as advanced as the 1660. You only have 3 lines here, while the other phone actually displayed the date and time down at the very bottom. Just here for an example, if you can see the difference here. We have like 4 lines here, 4 rows I should say, where stuff can be displayed. So this phone here can display more, but this one here, I think it's the more reliable phone, in my personal opinion. If I would choose between the two, I would get this one. Now, for the 1660. Of course, this phone is a little bit taller and not as thick as the 1560. And this phone here claims to be Energy Star, so it's more energy efficient, but of course that battery that comes with it, that's a really disappointing battery. I'm not kidding you. I had some GE phones about a year or so back. It's actually the phones I replaced the batteries in the video on my channel. That phone came stock with 600 milliamp hour AAA cells, while this unit didn't come with 300 milliamp hour AAA cells. So like I say, if you get one of these phones, don't be surprised if you would have to replace your battery. And of course I recommend, if you have some basic soldering experience, do it the cheap way. Just go over to the photo section of Walmart and get the Rayovac batteries, the rechargeables. All you need is the basics. But if you get the better ones, you may have longer runtime. And of course, you would have to take the leads out of the stock battery and solder together a pack. Now of course, do this at your own risk. You need to make sure you're experienced with soldering and stuff like that, and do not short the batteries up, because it won't be pretty. Anyways, with this phone, like I'm saying, it does seem more modernized. It has a bigger display. The buttons are laid out a little bit better, I think. Overall, both these phones are pretty nice. This phone here, I give it a 5 out of 5. This one here, a 4 out of 5. Anyways, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to ask.